Hello everyone, in this video we will be doing the chapter 16 of ACCA F3, which is the trial balance, errors and suspense accounts. Before watching this video, make sure that you have checked the previous videos. In case you haven't checked the previous videos, then I've linked all the playlists in the description box below. In case you would like to solve the Kaplan exam kit, the solution videos of them is also given in the description box below. This is a very simple chapter and you must have already done this in your earlier grades. Even if you haven't, it's very easy. It is just straight up knowledge. So we'll be doing the questions after we discuss the concept, and the entire topic will get clear as soon as we do the questions. So what is a trial balance? Do we know what a trial balance is? So you know that after we make a journal, we put them into ledgers, right? And when we put the values in the ledgers, we also know that we get balances. We get a debit balance or a credit balance. We know that we always get a balance, right? And those balances, either debit balance or credit balance, whatever balance you get in the ledger, then you put them in the trial balance. Okay, just a quick revision of a simple topic before we start with this. Okay, let's say I have a cash account. This is just an example. Okay, and cash has a debit balance, right? So my balance BF is, let's say, 100, and let's say XYZ something, which is 80. Now when I'm doing the totaling, which side will my balance come? This side. So my balance CF is going to be 20, right? Now tell me, what is this? So cash has a debit balance or a credit balance? Cash, in this question, what will you say? What is the closing balance? Is it a debit balance or a credit balance? It's coming on the credit side. What does that mean? We have discussed this a million times. We are always going to cross it to the other side and write the opening balance BF, and then we are going to decide what balance is it. After crossing which side it comes, that side balance is the true balance. So what is the balance? It has 20 debit balance. Clear? So in case, let's say, okay, let's say for example, if my balance, in case, if my balance would have been this side, would I say that it is debit balance? No, you are going to cross it to the other side and you will say that it is credit balance. So just make sure of this. Okay. Okay. Now what is suspense account? We will be discussing that. So sometimes what happens that errors, might happen. We've seen in BRS also. We have seen in control account reconciliation also. So sometimes, errors can take place because human error. Now sometimes there are some errors wherein the trial balance still matches, and sometimes the the balances can be matching even if there is an error in the trial balance. Okay. So errors where the trial balance still balances. So that's what I said. So there can be places wherein, let's say I put a sale of 80, and even in the cash account I put 80. So since even though the value is incorrect, it is still same on both the sides, so it will still be matching. So these kind of errors exist where the trial balance still balances even if there is a particular kind of error. Now there are other types of errors wherein the trial balance does not match. Okay, so in the situations where trial balance does not match, it means that one of the account has a correct value and the other has an incorrect value. Let's say, for example, let's say I purchase something for cash. What will my journal entry be? Debit purchases, credit cash, right? So my purchases is also matching with my cash. Okay. Now sometimes the trial balance does not match. So let's say I had debit purchases of 100, but by mistake I wrote only 90 in cash. So in this situation the balance is not matching, right? That is what they are trying to explain. Okay. Either ways, what are we supposed to do? How do we solve these kind of questions? We have to make a journal entry. So we need to make correcting journals in either ways. This chapter deals with collation of ledger account balances into a trial balance along with consideration of how errors in accounting records may arise and how do we basically correct these sort of errors. Okay. So what is a trial balance? I just discussed that, but we'll still just read it. At the end of the year, once all ledger accounts have been balanced off, the closing balances are summarized on a long list of balances. Now, what is a closing balance? I've discussed that also. This is referred to as trial balance. So, all the accounts, the whatever balance BF of all accounts will be put in a trial balance. For example, I'll show you. We have cash here, right? So let's say this is the balance. So we have a credit balance for cash. After we cross it, there's a credit balance, right? Let's say we have a purchase account. Let's say this has a credit balance. So whatever balances come in each of the ledger account, we put it in the trial balance. How was a trial balance? Trial balance looks something like this, and it has two columns, the debit balances and the credit balances. For example, I'll just put cash over here, and if the cash has credit, I'll write over here. If it has debit, I'll write over here. I'll put purchases. If it has credit, I'll write over here. And now I hope you are clear with what is debit balance and what is credit balance. After crossing it and putting it to the other side, which side it comes, it is that balance. Okay. All the closing debit balances are summarized in one column and the closing credit balances in another. That's what I discussed right now. We have two sides, the debit side and the credit side. Given the nature of the double entry system, both the totals should agree. So when you make a trial balance, the debit side and the credit side, both of them should be equal. If debit is 100, then credit should also be 100. The trial balance, debit column and the credit column, both of them always have to be the same. This is another control. This is another control in the accounting system to ensure that the balances reported are accurate. So this is one of the method using which we can check how the balances are same or not. Trial balance is always made at the end of the year. So now we have an example that this is the trial balance at 31st December 2005. So everything that we have, debit balances, whichever has a credit balance, whatever it is, and then we total it and the total has to match. Depending upon the size of an entity and other factors, the trial balance may contain any number of ledgers. So depends on every particular company. How many ever ledgers you've opened, how many ever accounts you have, according to that you are going to have the number of items in the trial balance. Okay. So how do you prepare the financial statement? What happens when you make a when you record everything in a ledger account? You know that after journal we make a ledger. We are done with this. We've done this in the previous chapter. And then you balance the ledger account, and after you close it, you crisscross the balances and you come with an opening balance of the next year. You know that, and that final balance you put in the trial balance. That also you know now. Very simple. After putting it in the trial balance, year-end adjustment made and ledger accounts close off. Trial balance used to prepare financial statements. You know about year-end adjustments also now? Okay. Okay, let's start with the test to understanding 1. GAT company commenced business in the first 9 days of the trading. So these are the transactions which are used. Complete the relevant ledger account and extract the trial balance. So I'll tell you how to do this first. We need to make the journal entries in the ledger accounts, and after that we need to make a trial balance, and the trial balance is going to match. Okay, let's just quickly do this. Okay, pause this video and make the ledger accounts by yourself, and then play this video and check it with me. Otherwise, there is no point of watching this video. You need to have a calculator, a pencil, and a notebook, and you need to solve the question and make notes along with me. Otherwise, there is no point of watching. Okay, so I'm giving you 5 minutes exactly, and then I'll be discussing the answer. I hope you solve it right now. Okay, so I hope you have made the ledgers. So I'll just quickly discuss it now. Let me read the first statement. It issued 10,000 share capital for cash. So which two accounts are involved? Share capital is involved and cash is involved. Okay, so cash account is to be made and share capital account is to be made. Fine. So I'll just quickly make a cash account first. This is my debit side and this is my credit side. Cash account and what? We need a share capital account. Okay, let's read the question. On 1st January, it issued 10,000 share capital. So, what is the journal entry? Debit cash, credit share capital. We know that, right? So, debit cash. 1st Jan. debit cash, credit share capital. I'm writing in shortcut. I hope you're able to understand. And in share capital, I have cash 10,000 again. All right. Let's go to the next part. 2nd January. It purchased goods for 4,000 and pay by check. Pay by check. Okay. So we purchased and we paid by check. So they mean to say that it is not a credit transaction, it's a cash transaction. Which two accounts are involved? Purchases and cash. In this case, what would be the journal entry? Think about it and tell me. Debit purchases credit cash, right? Debit purchases credit cash. Let's do that. Let's go on cash first. Credit cash, debit purchases 4,000, and we need to make a purchases account also. Okay. 3rd January, it bought a delivery van for 2,000 and paid by check. New account is the delivery van now. Let's make a delivery van. With 2,000. So let's make this change in the cash also. Cash credit. Delivery van, how much? 2,000. It purchased 1,000 for goods on credit. Okay, so I hope you understood how to make a ledger account. This is a very simple question and I don't think I need to waste so much time by doing this. So just like that, read every transactions, and this is how you need to make all the ledger accounts. And once you're done with the ledger accounts, you need to just do the balancing. Okay, after doing the balancing, you need to, let's say this is the balance, you need to cross it to the other side, and if this is your balance, you need to cross it to this side. Whichever side you have crossed it, that would be your final debit side or credit side. So here it's the credit side, right? So this is my credit balance. So now after you get this balance of every ledger account, either debit or credit, after crisscrossing, then you make a trial balance like this with the balances, and the trial balances are gonna have a debit side and a credit side. So put all the balances which you got, okay, and the debit values will always be equal to the credit values. In case it's not equal, then you have made some error. Okay, let's come to types of error. This is something which is crucial in this chapter. Errors, there are some kind of errors wherein the trial balance still matches. So let's say that a sale took place of 20 rupees. Okay, there's one error that debit cash, credit sale 10 10. The sale took place of 20, but I have mentioned that I received 10 cash in sale also 20. So my trial balance will still match because I made error in cash. I also made error in sale. If I just did debit cash 20, credit sale 10. In this case, there are two different values, so my trial balance will not match. I've made error only in one place. If I made, so it is easy to rectify. We can easily see that the trial balance is not matching. But in the first situation, if you have put the wrong value in both of the accounts, then the trial balance is still gonna match. So you will not get to know only that there has been an error, right? So that is the kind of error they are talking about. Errors where the trial balance does not balance. This shows that whilst the trial balance provides useful control mechanism for detecting errors, a balanced trial balance does not guarantee the accuracy. Why does it not guarantee the accuracy? I just showed you an example that if both my accounts have the incorrect balance, then it's not gonna be seen anyhow, right? Errors where the trial balance still balances. So now what kind of errors? We are going to go into the specific detail and we are going to see what kind of errors might occur and in those errors the trial balance is still going to balance. So the first kind of error which we are seeing is error of omission. Error of omission. If I have missed a particular transaction with both the accounts, I have missed it altogether, even then my trial balance will match, right? It's not going to make a lot of difference. So that is what is known as error of omission. A transaction has been completely omitted from the accounting records. A cash sale of 100 was not recorded. So something hasn't been recorded only. So neither cash account was debited nor sale account was credited. So if both the things didn't occur, then there will be no discrepancy in my books. You get that? Now we have error of commission. What is error of commission? Think about it. Commission. We are talking about error of commission. A transaction has been recorded in the wrong account. Example, rates expense 500 has been debited to the rent account in error. Okay. So we had to debit another account. But instead of debiting another account, we have debited another account. Either ways, account got debited. So even if it's in the wrong account, it has still been debited. So in my final value of trial balance, my value is still going to be the same, right? Next, we have error of principal. Give me a second. Okay, we have error of principal. A transaction has conceptually been recorded incorrectly. A non-current asset purchase of 1000 has been debited to the repair expense account rather than an asset account. Okay. Think about it for a second. The concept is itself wrong, right? When you had to put the purchase in the asset account, you had to debit the asset account. Instead of that, you debited the repair account. By doing this, my final value in the trial balance will still match, but it is still an error, right? Compensating error. Two different errors have been made which cancel out each other. A rent bill of 1200 has been debited to the rent account as 1400, and a casting error on the sales account has resulted in sales being 200. So two incorrect errors on both the sides have taken place. By doing that, my final value is going to still match. But that doesn't mean that the error has been rectified, right? Error of original entry. The correct double entry has been made out by the wrong amount. A cash sale of 76 has been recorded at 67. So the record should have been with 76. But my record has been made with 67. So even if I've made an error, my trial balance is still matching. Even if it's matching with the wrong amount, it is still matching. A reversal of entry. The correct amount has been posted to the correct accounts but on the wrong side. Example, cash sale has been debited to sales and credited to bank. Think about it for a second. A cash sale. This is the journal entry. Debit cash and credit sales. But then this 200 has been debited to sales. Instead of crediting, it is debited to sales and credited to bank instead of debiting. So it is a reverse, but my balance is still going to match. So now these are the things, these are the kind of errors which can take place and the trial balance can still match despite the error. So even if the trial balance is a great mechanism of control and everything, these are some it's situations which can happen wherein trial balance cannot find out the entry. When correcting these errors, a good approach is to consider what should the double entry have been. So if you think something is wrong, the first step to correct it is what should the double entry have been. Read the question, forget what the answer is given. You tell me what is the correct entry. That is your first step. What was the double entry? After you find out what the correct entry is, now see that what entry did they do? The incorrect entry, whatever they have done. Give me a second. Yeah. So the second thing is you need to see what entry they did, even if it's wrong. And then the third step is to see what is correct. Always assume that if one side of the double entry is not mentioned, it has been recorded correctly. So whatever hasn't been mentioned, that itself implies that it is correct. Okay? Now we're gonna go about it logically. So the first step you are going to do is first you are going to see what the right entry is. And then you are going to see the incorrect entry which you wrote. What entry did you actually do? The actual entry. And then the third entry would be to compare this with this and see which is wrong and which is right, and then we need to come to a correction. Okay, if a entry of a particular account hasn't been mentioned, we need to assume that the entry has been done correctly. Okay, let's start with test your understanding 2. Again, let's solve it the way we are doing. Let's have 3 columns. Okay, we have 3 columns. This is my actual this is my should have been entry. This is my should have been entry. This is my actual incorrect entry, and this is what correction I'm going to do. Sorry about that. Yeah. A cash sale of 100 was not recorded. Okay. So what is the correct entry of that? A cash sale of 100. Debit cash, credit sale. This is the correct entry by 100. And what entry you have done? You have omitted. You have made no entry at all. So in that case, since no entry has been made, you just have to put a new entry which has been omitted. So my correct entry would be debit cash, credit sale 100. Understood? Rates expense of 500 paid in cash has been debited to rent account in error. Okay. So what should have been the entry of rate expense paid in cash? Debit rate expense, credit cash. This is my correct entry, right? So let's write that. Debit rates, credit cash by 500. This is my should have entry. Okay. And what have they done? Has been debited to the rent account in error. Okay. So instead of debiting the rates account, they have debited the rent account. Is there anything mentioned regarding cash? Nothing is mentioned regarding cash, which means cash has been correct. So what entry did they do? They debited rent. Nothing is mentioned of cash. So they credited cash and the cash entry was correct. So what is the actual entry which they did? They did debit rent, credit cash, 500. Now how am I going to correct it? Let's see. Cash entry has been correct. So am I going to put cash again? No. Whenever some entry has been correct, you will not put it again, then it will become double. So my credit entry is correct. My credit 500 has already been done. So I'm going to do nothing about it. Okay. So my correct entry is debit rent, but I have already done debit rates. So first I will nullify this. We've done a little bit of this concept in the previous chapter. We are going to nullify it. Since we have debited, sorry, I'm so sorry. Let me repeat what I said again. Okay, let me please repeat again. What should I have done? I should have credited cash. What did I do? And I actually did credit cash. Since I have already credited cash and that is correct, I will do nothing with it since it is correct. What should I have debited? I should have debited rates. I should have debited rates. But what did I do? I debited rent. So this is incorrect. But what is correct? I have to debit rates. So the incorrect thing, I will reverse it. If I credit out my rent, then my rent will get nullified and it will get removed and I will put my actual entry. So when I credit my rent by 500, the incorrect entry goes away, right? And what is the actual thing I had to do? Rates 500. Understood? So whatever thing is correct, if you have already done it in a correct manner, then you will not make any changes. You will leave it as it is. And whatever incorrect entry you have done, that you are going to reverse it. Because when you reverse an incorrect entry, it gets nullified. And whatever correct entry you have to anyway put, which you haven't so far, that you will put. Okay? That's how you're supposed to do it. A non-current asset purchase of 1000 on credit has been debited to the repairs expense account rather than an asset account. Okay. Now, without making the table, try to do it logically. A non-current asset purchase on credit. Debit, what should be the correct entry according to you? What should be the entry? Non-current asset credit payables 1000. Right. But they have debited to repairs expense. So instead of debiting to NCA, they have debited to the repairs account. And nothing about payables has been mentioned, so that has been correct. So what will be my new entry? Payables has been correct only, so we'll do nothing about it. And repairs is incorrect, so we are going to nullify it. So since we want to remove it, we will credit it this time. Credit repairs and debit the actual thing, which is non-current asset. By how much? By 1000. Easy. Goods purchased at a cost of 950 paid in cash has been debited to the sales account. So goods were purchased. Let me make some space to solve. Okay. Goods purchased at a cost goods purchased at a cost of 950 paid in cash. So what will be the actual journal entry according to you? What should have been done? Debit purchase, credit cash, 950. But it has been debited to the sales account. Instead of purchase, you have basically done debit sales 950 and the other account has been, nothing about cash has been mentioned. That means that the cash transaction has been correct. Now what am I going to do? I'll do nothing with the correct entry. Cash, same, so nothing about it. Now sales is incorrect, so I'm going to credit it to nullify it. Credit sales 950. And the actual correct thing was debit purchases, so I'm going to debit purchases 950. Okay, you're just reversing. A cash sale of 76 has been recorded as 67. Okay, so a cash sale of 76. What would be the actual entry? What should have been done? Cash sale. So it should have been 76, but what you did is you made a 67. So my journal entry is correct, but my values are incorrect. So now how am I going to rectify it? So I need to basically just increase my 67 to 76, right? Their debit is 76. I need to increase it to 76. So what is the difference between 76 minus 67? 9. So what am I going to do? I'll just increase it. Debit cash, credit sale, increase by 9. That's it. A cash sale of 200 has been debited to sales and credited to cash. Okay. A cash sale. What should have been done? Debit cash, credit sale should have been done of 200. This should have been done. But what they have done? They have done debit sales, credit cash, 200. It should have been the other way around. So how am I going to do this? So you know that if you reverse an entry, it gets nullified, it gets cancelled out, right? So this entry, first I'm going to nullify it. I will cancel out it. So I'm going to debit sales and credit cash. By doing that, it will get nullified. After nullifying and after it becoming 0, then I will put the actual entry. So then it will become double. You understood my point? First, I will reverse it. I will do debit cash, debit sale, credit cash. So this has been done, right? So first I am going to reverse this once. When I reverse this once, I get this. Everything gets nullified and it becomes 0. And then I will put the same entry again. Debit cash, credit sale with 200. Why? Then the actual entry will be put. So if you add them, it is 400, right? So my answer is debit cash, credit sale, 400. I hope you understood it. The first time I reversed it, it cancelled out, and the second time I put the actual value. Okay, so that's it for this video. In the next part, we will be doing the other errors. In the next part, we will do the errors where the trial balance does not match. Till now, we've done the errors where the trial balance matches. So I hope you understood this concept. In the following videos, we will solve the Kaplan exam kit, so things will become easier for you. So hope you understood the chapter. Please practice these questions and try to do them by yourself. And in case you have any doubt, then feel free to drop them in the comment section below and I'll try to solve it. Thank you.